All right, howdy. So, patient experience specialist monthly checklist. So, this is a one sheet that you will be able to have that will have the whole month on it here, as you can see. You'll see that we have it broken down into 4 different weeks. So, we have week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. This will be something that you'll hold on to each month and you'll turn it in at the end of each month, but you'll also make a copy of it every week for the auditor to be able to go through to make sure that everything has been done and been completed. At the top, you'll be able to see that a lot of these things are marked off in dark gray. These are the ones that are going to be on a monthly basis. So these are the things that will need to be done every single month. So watering the plants, making sure that there's plants, if there are plants in the office. You'll inventory operatory supplies. So you'll make sure that everything is up to date. You'll do a really deep inventory every month, but you'll also be doing a weekly ordering of supplies. So you'll do a quick inventory, make sure that we have everything that we need in the sufficient quantities. Maintaining the compressor, so we'll be draining the water, making sure the desiccator is up to date and not too undesiccated, if you will. Then you'll have maintaining the vacuum, making sure that the filters are up to date and they're not too full. And then you'll be cleaning out all the lab cases. This will be one time to go through, look at all the lab cases. Did we miss anybody? Did we not send anything out? Et cetera, et cetera. So these are things that we'll definitely want to make sure that we take care of to make sure that if we did skip out on someone, didn't call them, or they canceled their appointment to get their crown seated and they never rescheduled, and here we have their crown sitting there, we want to make sure that we get a hold of them to make sure that their crown gets seated. And then updating the MSDS. So if we have any of the MSDSs that we get from other operatory or other inventories, so any new products that we're starting to use, we need to make sure that we have that MSDS up to date. So those are the things that we're going to be able to try and accomplish on a monthly basis. The name will be the name of the lead assistant, but any other assistant that helped to accomplish any of these, will be written down. So on a weekly basis, we'll be ordering all the supplies. So we want to make sure that all the supplies have been ordered for both the hygienist and for the assistants. We want to make sure that we complete a spore check for that week, and then once that's done, we can initial here. We'll be flushing the lines, making sure this will be one time at the end of the week where we flush out everything before it sits over the weekend. That'll make sure it'll be completed. And then we'll have stocking post-op slips, and this will also be consent forms as well. So they will make sure that all the consent forms, the post-op slips, all of those are completed and in storage so that we can hand them out to patients. Changing the traps will be also done weekly to make sure that those are staying nice and clean. And then also sending gifts and any sympathy cards. This is something that, as dentistry making a difference, we really want to try and make sure that we connect with our patients, not just on a superficial, hey, we're going to take care of your teeth and bye. We don't want to just get a relationship with the tooth. We want to be able to make sure we get a relationship with the patient. And so if we have anybody that's getting married, any birthdays, any deaths in the family, anybody being born, anything like that, we want to make sure that we kind of keep track of that and send out as many of these cards as possible. And that's one thing that as a patient experience specialist that you will be able to try and do. All right, so those are kind of the monthly items, the weekly items, and here are the daily items. So these are simple things, but we just need to make sure that they're done, and whoever does them, we need to make sure that they're initialed every day. So opening the office, pretty self-explanatory. But in some of our offices, we have 4 doors that need to be opened, closed, and unlocked. So those are places that this is one place that you'll initial to make sure that all the doors are opened. We've had experiences where, one door was accidentally not open and patients were waiting for a long time and never got a hold of anything. So that's one way to ensure that all that gets done. Then turning on the music every day. Make sure the music turns on. There's been multiple times I've come into the office working on a patient. I realized, why is it so quiet? Anyway, realized the music wasn't turned on. Very simple. Make sure that's turned on. If there's a DVD player or a TV in the waiting room or TVs for the patients, then this will be a good place to make sure that you initial, to make sure that was completed. Then we'll be able to turn on the compressor, the vacuum, the pano, make sure all those are up and going. And this is things we want to try and accomplish before the morning huddle, so that when the morning huddle is done and we jump into our first patient, air compressor is ready to go, vacuum ready to go, pano's ready to go in case that first patient needs a pano. Everything's done and completed. All right, as a patient experience specialist too, one thing that you'll be doing is making sure the bathrooms are clean. So you'll just, right before lunch, you'll head into the bathroom, make sure anything's picked up, the toilet paper, if it needs a new roll, that you can do that, paper towels need a new roll, anything you'll just kind of restock, make sure it's clean, make sure someone didn't just spit toothpaste everywhere, just clean that up really quick. And that's why you'll see that there's a split here, because you'll want to do it one time in the morning and one time right before we go home at night. And then you'll also just walk through the office just to make sure everything's clean in the office, that someone didn't leave their Jimmy John's wrapper in the waiting room, or McDonald's cup, or just anything like that. Make sure all that's cleaned up, magazines are organized, make sure that all the light bulbs are changed. If we end up seeing any light bulbs that are out, that's a good time to change that. So that, once again, twice a day. So you'll make sure the bathrooms are clean in the morning right before you go to lunch. Then you'll have the housekeeping, where you just walk through the office to make sure it's all cleaned up, and then light bulbs, etc. So all these things are done in the morning and in the afternoon. Usually they go really quick, but we just want to make sure that they get completed. Then you'll be logging all the lab cases, and you'll audit tomorrow's cases. So this is ideally done in the AM, mainly because you want to do it right before you go to lunch, because if there is most of the confirmation for the next day or anything like that, usually done right in the afternoon after everything is settled down from the morning. So that way, if there isn't a lab case and someone's scheduled to come in tomorrow, we want to double check to make sure from the lab that it is coming, track the tracking number to make sure that it's going to be there. So that gives us the opportunity to be able to make sure that the lab cases are ready to go for tomorrow, and make sure that anything that we've done from the morning, we set up and ready to go and box it, and so it can be shipped off that afternoon or early the next day. And then all these items you'll see are things that we need to accomplish right at the end of the day. These are just making sure to unpack all the shipments. So if we get our shipments from our dental suppliers in that day, and we have boxes that are sitting there, we don't want to let those boxes sit for a long period of time. So we want to open up the box, make sure that we got it. We want to be timely to make sure that if we do have to switch out anything, that we do it right away. So the boxes are opened up, we restock the shelves, make sure that's done. So all the boxes should be cleared out by the end of the day. All the trash is taken out by the end of the day. All the instruments are sterilized and ready to go by the end of the day. And the restock, the ops and bins, all the cotton rolls, gauze, everything is ready to go. All the tackle boxes are stocked so that they're ready to go for the next day. And then also finish any lab cases. We definitely don't want to leave any models, overnight. We want to make sure that everything is great to go, and then we'll go from there. You'll turn the compressor on, turn the compressor off, the vacuum off, the pano. Make sure that that's all done and turned off, so that when you go home, there's not going to be an air burst in one of the pipelines, or the vacuum burns out overnight. We want to make sure that everything is turned off. Then you'll pull the report for the doc to make his post-op calls, and this will be done right before you go. These are all things that are done right at the very end of the day. So once again, here's the monthly items, here's the weekly items, once a week, and these are the daily items. Once you're done with this for the week, on a Friday, you'll pull the report for the docs, you'll initial it. All these should have initials in them. Then you'll make a copy of it, you'll give it to the auditor to review on Monday. So that's what you'll do, and then you'll keep this whole checklist for the month, and then you'll turn it in at the end of the month to the auditor, and go from there. So I think that it's pretty straightforward. We just want to make sure that all those tasks get completed, and that's a good checklist to make sure it happens.